Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Brennan Young with Odyssey Trek Channel, and today we're going to talk about dust in your console. So all jokes aside, this is kind of an issue that isn't talked about a lot. It's something that you don't think about a lot when you get a console, and that is dust within your console. So first, let's talk about why you'd want to even think about the whole dust getting into your console and around your console situation. So no matter where your console is, your console pulls in air through certain parts of it to help cool the components within inside it, and with that, obviously there's dust around your console and it's going to suck in that dust within the system. So no matter where your console sits, air that gets pulled in from the fans in your console is going to pull dust from around that area into your console. That dust accumulation can cause overheating, fans to become more inefficient in their performance. It can lead to bigger problems down the road if it accumulates to a certain point. So does your console pull in a lot of dust within it? And the answer to that kind of depends on where you have it. If you're housing it where there's a lot of dust around the console, obviously you're going to get a lot of that dust around the console in the console too. If you're housing it somewhere where you get the least amount of dust possible, where you can have it set up, you're not going to have that issue as much. It is virtually impossible to keep dust from getting in the console. It's just a matter of how fast will that dust accumulate within the console. So the ultimate question, do you need to clean your console? And the answer to that is absolutely you do, but with caution and knowledge going in to doing that. For instance, Xbox states on their website that you should clean your console with a dry cloth and only on the exterior, not getting into the console. And that brings up an important issue. If you are to that point where you believe that there is a lot of dust within the console, it's causing you overheating issues, and you decide that it's time to clean it and do a deeper clean and go into the console, you are voiding that warranty. You will not have the warranty with Microsoft, with Sony anymore if you go about doing that. Could it help the system perform better? Absolutely it could. It could help the performance drastically if the dust is that bad with inside of it. So what I said about cleaning it with a dry cloth and only on the exterior would obviously go the same way with PlayStation. I just found it on Xbox's website talking about that, and it makes sense. If you're cleaning the area around the console and just on the surface of the console, you won't run into having that dust around the area pulled in if there's not as much dust to be pulled in. That makes sense. So how often do you need to do that? Again, it kind of depends on where you're housing it as to how much dust there is and how much you want to bring back on the accumulation of it. In my opinion, a good rule of thumb would be to dust the area and on top of your console, around the surface of your console, at least every few weeks to a month. I would say, all it takes is just a Swiffer duster, and you just skim right over it, get the dust out from around it, and you're going to cut back on that dust entering your console a lot. And that brings me to another point on where your console should be. Do not keep your console on a carpet or on the floor, because that is where the most dust is going to accumulate. If you're keeping your console on the carpet, you're just asking for overheating issues anyway. I mean, that right there, the carpet, depending on how thick the carpet is, it's going to hold heat, it's going to resonate heat after a while, and it's just not a good idea to keep your Xbox on carpet on the floor in general. Try, if you're putting it on an entertainment system, to keep it off the highest shelf. Obviously, if you've got it on that highest shelf, the most dust from around the area is going to come and settle on the very top shelf the most, and if you've got your Xbox, PlayStation, whatever on there, you're going to run into that issue. Keep any obstructions away from your console. You don't want something tucked up next to an intake fan on your console and it not be able to pull in cold air that it needs to cool the console, and you run into issues like that. That's not so much of a dust issue, it's just an issue of having your console overheat, which you don't want. And that's also important to know what the airflow is of your console. When you first set it up, or if you've already had it set up for a while and you don't really know where the intake fans are, where the exhaust fans are, just set it up and turn it on and just feel around it. See where the air's coming out, where you feel the air being pulled in, and go from there on where you think it should be housed and what would keep it the cleanest. Ideally, you want to keep your console in a cavity of an entertainment center that does not have closed doors. It's well ventilated, but you're also not going to have all that dust that settles just from the air on the top shelf. It won't get into those cavities as much as it would, say, if it was on the top shelf or out on the floor. Also, another tip, try to avoid aftermarket air breathers. While they keep your system cooler because they're forcing more air than the stock fans that your console has, you're going to also be pulling in a lot more dust from the air. It's forcing more air in there. It's going to force more particles of the dust that's in the air into the console. So those are my thoughts on keeping dust down from inside your console. If you like this video, drop a like down below. Super appreciate it. Share not only my content on YouTube, but all YouTubers' content. We're all out here trying to make videos to entertain the people of YouTube, and I am just happy to be a part of it. And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content.